Hello everyone. My name is Dalton, and this is my friend Simran.
Hello.
Today we're going to be discussing the film Pleasantville, uh, created in 1998. Simran, what do you think
So,
about it?
honestly, the film Pleasantville was very intriguing.
Really?
It definitely made me, it definitely made me think more in depth about the film because there was a lot of things in the film that just were confusing at first, but like later on you'd understand why those things actually occurred.
Did you think it was a good film?
Yeah, I think it was a good film. Uh, I really don't have anything to say about that, but I think yeah, it genuinely was a good film. But yeah,
I think it was pretty good. There was like some really important scenes there, and like
yeah,
it
like
had a
well,
good moral compass, I guess. Uh, I don't know. I mean, we watched it a few times, right? You watched it a few
yeah,
times.
yeah. I watched it like 2 times.
Yeah, we really had to like examine it, and like we got the main features out of it.
Yeah,
Would you watch it
definitely.
again?
Um, yeah, actually, I would because when you first watch a movie, you don't really understand like at first what like the true message of the movie is until if you watch it again,
Yeah.
you really start to understand what actually happens. Like
Mm.
I've said previously. Now, what do you think? Would you watch it again? Same question.
Uh, I mean, I watched it a few times. I mean, I would watch the uncensored version, considering that we didn't get to watch the uncensored version.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm, yeah, there might be some more hidden scenes in the, um, obviously the uncensored version
Yeah.
that they cut out for obvious reasons.
Really? Like
But
what?
yeah, I think it would have more details, like the masturbation scene.
What? Are you
It
serious?
yeah, it definitely is a handful. So basically, Betty, George's wife, experiences like her touching herself for the first time, and that
Wow.
scene very like really emphasizes on the fact that they don't really have much knowledge on the world,
I
and
think.
since
I
they're
think.
like yeah.
I think it really talks about how they've like become their own person as well, right? They're
Yeah, yeah,
exploring
definitely.
themselves. Like,
They start to change
yeah.
because at first Betty didn't know even what sex is, and then after she experienced it for the first time, or kind of, she started to change colors. Because in the scene we can see her in the bathtub, but then when she looks around her, things start changing into color.
Yeah.
So I think it really materializes change brought to the area as well.
That's true. I feel like I don't know. There were like so many important scenes. Like
There was a lot of
when we look at
important
the
scenes.
library, like it's like everyone was so scared to change, you know? Like if we look at
Yeah,
the library scene, when they're
definitely.
burning all the books, like you see all the old people that like are really scared to change. They've gotten into the routine, but they like really scared of change. They
Yeah,
like burn all the books and everything that reminisces on like the fact that something new could be happening.
yeah.
That
They're scared of
they're
change being
scared of the
brought because
unknown.
they, yeah, they're scared of the unknown. Exactly.
Yeah, it's
That's
crazy.
definitely, yeah, that is
Like
pretty insane.
there are so many important scenes that really like highlights what Pleasantville really is, or like really what like the important themes like prejudice, change. Like there's so
Yeah,
many scenes in there that like really articulate what it's like.
yeah.
What do you think was like really
Uh,
important? What stuck out to you?
what stuck out to me personally would be, I
The
don't know. I feel like
masturbation
the
scene?
court scene. No, the court scene was really. It had a lot of like impact because it kind of showed the inferiority of power that Bud had compared to obviously Bob because since he was the mayor, everyone trusted him. But
Mm,
everyone was obviously scared of the unknown except for the people that started to change, and they started to realize that change wasn't so bad. It was kind of good. Like they enjoyed it. They didn't want it to go. Like Betty said in one of the scenes when she was talking to George, she didn't want to change.
she
She
didn't
didn't
want
want
to
to wear
change.
makeup.
Yeah,
She was she was what's the word? Obeying basically
yeah.
her role as a woman in society.
And then she
And
evolved later into becoming herself. She got to go out.
yeah,
She
she
overcame
became
it.
herself. As we saw, obviously her walking down those lanes and going by herself. instead of going with her husband and etc. So I feel like the court scene really emphasized on all those people that were colored, and it was, I guess it was like kind of segregating colored and non-colored,
True, like they were
which
on different
made,
levels.
yeah, they were on different levels.
And as soon as George turned colored, they kicked him out. Yeah.
Yeah, they no, they didn't kick him out. He
He
just ran
did.
away out of
He got fired.
embarrassment.
George. Not George. Yeah, George, the father. He got kicked out of the council as soon as he turned colored.
Really?
Yeah, he did. Isn't that
Uh,
crazy?
I,
It's like
yeah, that's pretty crazy.
it's like a
Cause like
metaphor of
the
racism.
moment, yeah, the moment he changes, the moment everyone just hates him, you know, just
Yeah.
kick him out just because of what his color, his appearance.
Yeah, that's crazy. Prejudice goes crazy. Um,
Yeah,
the movie also touches on the fact that like equal rights for women. Like we see
yeah,
so many
definitely.
women become themselves. Like looking at Mary Sue, she rejects sex for studying. Like she's becoming her own independent and smart woman, which is like
I mean,
something crazy.
I feel like Mary Sue is one of the key reasons of obviously Pleasantville changing,
That's
because
true. Yeah, she came in. She changed everything.
she didn't want to be in the role of just living this nerd life, going
True.
about like following the rules. She wanted to be different. She wanted to like not live in this like a
Nerdville. Yeah.
nerdville. Like, yeah, as
Yeah.
she said. What do you think? Some of the important scenes were, in your opinion?
I mean, important scene would be definitely Betty evolving into a woman, but like a crazy scene. Speaking of Betty, the stupidest scene I think it was when Betty and George are sitting on the bench at the very end of the movie,
Yeah,
and then George turns into Bill. I think that was like totally unnecessary. I mean, like in the
I
movie
s-
they have a love interest and everything, but and it like
bro.
emphasizes on the fact that she was only in the marriage for the kids and like
Yeah,
no
yeah,
love. It was not a love
yeah.
related.
You can really infer that.
Yeah, but like I think it's like such a stupid scene to have in the movie because there's like no explanation for it or anything. It's just like she just
Well,
George just turns
there
into Bill.
there might be one key message that the author's trying to portray in that scene, is that since Betty lived like she wasn't very happy in a relationship.
Hmm.
Her relationship wasn't very intriguing to her. She wasn't very happy in it, as we saw from her facial expressions that obviously the director like examined, because he used these technical codes like close-ups, extreme close-ups to really show and emphasize her emotions and facial structure. So I feel like what it was trying to say was when she has like freedom, she has rights now,
Hmm.
like because everyone's equal now, everyone's color, everyone's equal.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's because she always wanted to be with George, obviously. I mean, yeah, what's his name? Bill.
Bill. Yeah.
She always wanted to be with Bill. Whenever Bill was like brought up in anywhere in the movie, she would always just look at him and just stare, because she knew
Trusted.
she wanted to be with him. But she thought of the consequences if she left George and what would
Hmm.
happen after that.
True. I.
And at the ending scene, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. No
At the
worries.
ending scene, I feel like her Bill sitting at the end of the table was really showing that she gets to finally be happy because of the change brought to the town. She finally gets to express herself and not have to live under strict rules, which really brings up the topic of conformity
Yeah.
within Pleasantville.
Hmm.
So I guess that in a sense was idealistic for her, but her previous life wasn't really, it wasn't very ideal for her. Obviously, she had all the stuff around her, all family, and like things, obviously like food, etc.
Yeah.
But I feel like she wasn't really happy with the life or situation she was in.
Hmm.
That's because she wanted with Bill.
Where do you think George is now?
George, I feel like,
What do you
I
think
don't
happened to
know.
him?
Well, they didn't. I don't think they've got rid of George because they showed Betty sitting with him. It wasn't like a previous scene or like a flashback.
George.
But
George
I
turns into
think
Bill, or I don't know. Something happens
no,
to
no.
him.
Betty looks to her other side, and then Bill is sitting right there. So Bill and George are sitting at both sides of the bench.
What? Really?
Yeah, yeah, that is actually what happened. She didn't replace him because obviously they wouldn't do that to George. They want the entire area to be happy.
So does that
That's
mean?
also one of the key things.
So I didn't get it. Who's in a relationship with who? That's them.
Yeah, that's a true thing because she is in a relationship with George. She can't deny it, but she loves Bill,
Yeah.
and I think it'll remain that way. I feel like they didn't really touch on George that much. I feel like
There's so
George is
much
feel
there that could have been
how
tapped into.
yeah yeah like George. We don't really know how he's feeling now,
Mm.
thinking that his wife doesn't really love him. They don't give him freedom. They didn't give him happiness. They give it to the other characters, but not George. I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like George was definitely an important character that like should have like been shown more in the movie because like there's so much emotion. There are so many of there are so many perspectives of everyone else in the movie, but
Yeah.
besides George, besides that one scene where he's in the courtroom and the
Yeah.
jail, where he's talking about how he misses Betty.
Yeah,
Isn't
and
that
then yeah, continue.
isn't that crazy how people they don't realize like how important things are until they're gone? Because if
Exactly.
Bud and Mary Sue or David,
Yeah.
if they didn't come into the world, none of this like Mary
They
Sue
wouldn't
would,
have realized.
yeah,
Really opened their eyes
Betty wouldn't be
for
happy.
the
She
better.
would still be with George. Like no one would open their eyes. George would still take them for granted.
Continuing back on George, I feel like in the court scene when Betty is sitting at like the top area
Yeah, yeah.
and he's looking at her. They like looking at each other. Betty isn't smiling.
Mm.
I think that's a thing that not anyone really talks about. Is she's not smiling, and George, he looks at her, but like it's like a scene where she should show some type of emotion, right, through her facial structure,
Mm.
but she doesn't really like show any emotion. She's just neutral. But if it was Bill in that situation, she would probably be smiling or have some type of emotion on her face.
Do you think the director put that in on purpose or?
I think he did put it on purpose, but not a lot of people could really interpret that type of way for George.
Mm. What do you think of Mary Sue deciding to stay in Pleasantville?
Mary Sue staying in Pleasantville, I think it's because of opportunities. That's the reason she stayed. Because
Mm.
I don't think she actually liked her life back in the real world.
Yeah. And
Because
the time went so slowly. Only an hour
yeah,
had passed and like weeks, like a month had passed in Pleasantville.
yeah. Because oh yeah, that is very true. I don't think
Yeah,
that's talked about a lot. Because when Bud returned, it was still nighttime, and the guy was still outside.
yeah. That guy, what's his deal? He appears out of nowhere, gives him a
Yeah. Also,
strange remote, and
yeah. What do you think about that guy? The TV remote, the random old guy that comes in, um, coincidentally out of nowhere, as the TV breaks. What do you think about him?
besides the fact that he's like really creepy and I don't know, almost stalkerish. I mean there are like so many metaphors and symbols that you could like subjectify him to. Like he could be like change or like so many different things you could say he is, but like I don't know. He's just weird. What do you think he is? What do you think he symbolizes?
Um, I think it's fate. If I really think about it, I think
Fate?
it's fate. Yeah, because
I mean, look at his language. He says like he knows and stuff. Like he really cares about the like Pleasantville. And when
yeah,
they start messing with it, he tells them off.
yeah. So that's the thing I got kind of confused about because the old man came to them, right? And I thought it symbolizes that they wanted it was fate, it was change. They wanted to bring change to Pleasantville because Pleasantville wasn't happy, right? Because if Bud wasn't there, obviously, like you said, Bud, Betty, and everyone wouldn't be happy. So I don't know why the camera or the TV guy got angry when he started to bring change.
Hmm.
So I don't think that's
You know
honestly,
what?
I don't think it will ever be answered, but there might be one interpretation
Yeah.
that really talks about the TV guy, because honestly, there is no really true answer on the TV guy. It's just he just comes out of nowhere. While there was thunder. I don't know if that symbolizes anything. The thunder that was happening
I think just like
as he came.
cinematic, dramatic effect.
Yeah, but it might have had to do with something, maybe.
Definitely could have. Yeah.
So I don't know.
I've got two things. I
Uh,
mean, like, sorry, I've gone blank. I don't know, the TV guy could be like another. He like he's just like the people inside of Pleasantville. He doesn't want change, but
Yeah,
like
that's true.
he. Do you think maybe like he like teased Bud to not change Pleasantville, but like it was like reverse psychology. He wanted him to change, even though he like consistently told him not to change. I don't know. I'm just.
I think it's because the TV guy really enjoyed the show. But that's like
But
kind
why
of
would he
like a
want him to change? Like, oh, you know what I think it is?
yeah.
Like nothing is consistent and change is inevitable.
True.
That's true.
I have a question to ask to you. What did you think about the scene where I forgot the lady's name, Margaret, she hands Bud the apple because it has a way deeper meaning.
Oh, the Bud's love interest, right?
Uh, did you know about the Adam and Eve
Yeah, that's what I
theory?
was just about to say. That the Adam
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
Eve, where like they reject the idea of conformity and safety, just to like have their own emotions. They're
Yeah,
protected.
to for their benefit, they
Mm,
ate the apple, even if they were told not to.
yeah, they have like they're protected by everything, like, but then they choose to take the apple. They choose to be happy. They choose to be themselves. I think that's a big one.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like there's like I think this has to go in with the TV guy. I think he might be controlling Pleasantville. I know this is like a very like odd theory, but if you hear me out, okay?
Theory
So
podcast.
yeah, yeah. So the TV guy, right? I
Yeah.
feel like he's controlling Pleasantville because when Bud did something wrong, like ate that apple, right? It started to rain. And we know that the TV guy doesn't want change. So what if that like makes it so he knows what if he like controls the area? Because I feel like there's like a godly being in Pleasantville. Because why
Mhm.
would it just randomly rain unless
I
it's
think
to show something?
yeah, it could show something. I think Pleasantville's brain is kind of like a chapter, or kind of like a step in the right direction. It shows the progress of what's been done. Like they've gone
Yeah,
from the
yeah,
very
definitely.
start to being black and white. Everything's bland. Everything's the same every
Yeah,
day. To
yeah.
a week later, oh, it's raining now, and everyone's colored. The buildings are colored. There are books. There are paintings. I feel like the rain like really symbolizes their progress as becoming themselves.
That's true. I feel like that's another really good interpretation. There's also
Yeah.
too. It's just there's a negative and a
Yeah,
positive
there
change.
always there are so many perspectives. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of perspectives in Pleasantville. A lot of theories you can make up from what
Alright.
the author is really trying to convey.
Well, would you
So, do you have any final conclusions about the film?
not any uh not anything really I want to get out. What do you think of the film? What's your closing statement, Simran?
I mean, yeah, I also want to get out, but I feel like Pleasantville is it really makes you think about the choices the characters made, the change brought, the hidden messages that the author's trying to portray, and all the mysteries like the TV guy,
Mm,
like which were never being answered because they never touched on it. And also another thing they never touched on. Sorry to add on.
keep going.
Um, the lady, Bud's
Bud's
uh
mother?
mother, yeah, his mother.
David's mother, yeah.
They didn't really talk about her character a lot. All we saw was she was very heartbroken. She's gotten rejected. She's kept on going on dates. She's really just a broken character. She has no person to comfort her. But then Bud, I think he, because of the influence and the discipline that he gained from Pleasantville, his experience, it really influenced the others around him. So
Yeah.
like his mother, he
Yeah,
was able to comfort her because of Pleasantville.
that's true. Yeah. I think
And that was the last we ever saw of Pleasantville. That was just the ending.
yeah, over what, about to be 30 years soon, I think?
Maybe
Yeah.
30 years, yeah. It's a
Another
very,
few
very
years.
old movie.
Very old. Uh yeah, I think this film definitely shows what's it like to be yourself. Like change and what's it like to really
Yeah,
evolve as a person.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. That is.
Alright, thank
Yeah,
you for watching the podcast.
yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed.
We'll see you next time.
Yep.